Unaongea sana. Society. So unknowingly we've been taught that men don't talk a lot. Our fathers don't talk. So why should we? You see. So a man, you solve your problems. If they are hard, go to your fellow man. Don't tell the wife. You come with the solution. You see.
And even as you go to your fellow men, you go as the third party. You know, a friend of mine.
I had a friend of mine that had a similar issue. Now let me ask this, Angie. Will you want a man who is always telling you his problems?
Nice question.
Thank you. If an answer is not an outright yes, then
give me a chance to express myself.
Please.
So there's a lady who has asked, would you want your guy to be crying like when he has issues? Should he cry? And she said, I would like him to take time and cry if he needs to, but he shouldn't now turn into a crybaby. Like everything is cry.
What's the problem? You shouldn't be weeping.
Why are you
giving limitations?
At the end of the day,
should be but limited. Limited credit.
So for me, I want a man who can come and tell me his challenges, because at the end of the day,
did you hear my question?
I am not done. Okay. So I would like a man who would come and tell me his challenges, because I am his helpmate. I am supposed to help him with his challenges. But again, I don't expect you to bring everything to me, especially things that I would expect you, for example, to solve by yourself. But there's also the part of conversation, like how has your day been, what were your challenges, I don't mind you sharing with me at all.
That's limited.
Now saying that, I think I'll give one of the reasons why some men don't speak up. Well, personally, I'd say to protect the other person, to protect them from feeling from the fear of, this guy is not able to do these things. Just because I talk
to lose the house.
So as Philo had shared earlier, like we don't talk, but we'll talk later. When everything is well settled.
But in the case Philo is talking about, so let's say, for example, we came in and we decided that you're the one who's gonna pay the mortgage. But then you get to a point where you are unable to pay the mortgage and we're about to lose the house, but you won't tell me that we're losing the house, and then we end up losing the house. But maybe I would have been in a position where I would have helped you actually pay the mortgage. If you would have said the issue on time.
Makes sense.
We cannot argue with you there. What we can say is we are learning.
And I feel like that is the problem with many women have, is that the men will not tell them what the problem is, yet they might have been in a position to help or to bring a solution to the situation.
But that is in the context, of course, of marriage context. But of course, all of us here, we ain't married.
So do we talk?
That's the question. Do we talk?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we are asked that question,
even if you're not married, some of you are seriously dating. So are you telling your ladies like the issues you're going through?
No, as typical.
Not necessarily everything.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying, as men, we need to learn to share. But this is when it's for sure you will go with this lady. Then it is easier to share. Otherwise, as men, a little breaking of trust shuts us.
It's shut down.
We shut down.
Yeah. Of course, as you're sharing, you should share with someone that you can trust. But I still have an issue with not sharing, because I had a friend that he didn't share like the step that he was going to make, and he was going to make a really bad choice. And then, but I could have advised him and told him, baby, this is the better choice. Like, take this first as you organize yourself to make the other choice. But he felt that that was nothing important to share, and so he made a bad choice, and now he's suffering for it.
Does he have male friends that who could have advised him?
But he didn't share. But he didn't tell his male friends.
So in that context, he did not share to share.
Exactly. So I feel like talk to someone, whether it's your male friends or your girlfriends or your parents, you know.
Yes, and I think also to just wrap it, not even wrap it, I will just encourage every man out there. If you can't share it with someone, at least tell God, because He's always there to listen to us.
Yeah.
He won't point fingers and tell you, oh, you're weak and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, He's always there to encourage you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and believe that things will work out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't just be in that room where you don't talk to anyone.
Don't self-distract.
Yeah. Talk to God.
Yeah.
He's there to listen.
Even the Bible says, in the multitude of counsel, there's safety.
Yeah.
What influence does our father or fathers have on us as men?
For guys, a father actually defines the kind of journey that the man will take.
Yeah.
For when it comes to the mom will define how the man will relate to other ladies. But the dad will define how this man will be. Yeah. And that's the kind of influence fathers have on young men.
Sons.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the effect of a father to a son is quite tremendous. I mean, one, of course, as the son is growing, as Philo said, of course, as the son is growing, the father is able to see himself as young because he is able not to look back. You see the foolishness that your son is doing, and you're like, I did this thing. This is my DNA. As the son is growing now, he looks up and he's able to see himself in the eyes of the father.
Yeah.
You know, so that effect is tremendous.
Scary.
It's very scary. And our fathers influence how we think about life.
Yeah.
Work ethic, by the way, our view about women,
Yes.
our view about sex, our view about God, by the way, our view about society, social norms, our view about everything, about politics, about everything. That's the. And you see, these are the roles, of course, that God has given them. Remember what we said about what man is.
Yeah.
So he's able to lead. And we as children, we learn a lot by observing.
Yeah.
Right? We learn a lot by observing. So if and that's why, of course, we are told, of course, before you get married, of course, look at a guy and how he relates with his dad.
Yeah.
Because it's likely to translate with how he relates.
Yeah.
I mean, how I see my dad treat my mom, that has had an effect all through, and I'm likely more or less to treat women according to what I've seen my dad treat women.
Yeah.
Yes, tremendous. Of course, there's an aspect of change later on in life. Of course, doesn't mean that we are a direct duplicate of our fathers, but those things are embedded. Now, there are good ones and there are bad ones. The bad ones, you keep trying to fight them. But those ones that are positive, we keep carrying them to the next generation. There are lots of things I would really want to pass on to my sons that I learned from my dad.
Yeah.
There are things that I really want to improve. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why we said it defines the journey that the man will take.
Yes.
So if it is positive, then you'd want to either be exactly like him or go better than him. If it is bad, then you'd not want to be that kind of man.
Yeah.
That's how the influence is.
Yes.
The influence is so big such that a present father has an influence, an absent father has an influence.
Yeah, either way.
Either way.
Yeah.
There's influence.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's this, I don't know if it's an example of two men. one was a businessman, a very rich, they were brothers. One was a drunkard. And then they were both asked, why are you like this? So the businessman said, I looked at my father. The drunkard said, I looked at my father.
Yeah.
And the father was a drunkard.
Yeah.
So you can guess what each of them
Yeah.
So that's how big the impact has.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest source of masculinity for us is our fathers. And I think fatherhood is something, like we say, we are not taught, but we are learning that fathers have a responsibility to pass it down to their sons. The behavior, how you treat women, how you treat society, how you respond, social norms, as you say, all that, the biggest influence is from your father.
Yeah.
And that doesn't stop when we are just young.
Yeah.
It's like Philo said, it's a journey. So trust me, even now, I'm in my late 20s. There are things that now I go back and ask my dad, what did you do when you were this old?
Yeah.
and of course he will pour to you a little bit of wisdom.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have to ask, he'll tell you, hey, by the time I was this old, I was doing ABCD.
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing? You know, and so it's a journey. When you get babies, they'll start asking you about how you're parenting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a journey. When you start taking your kids to school, they'll be concerned about that. So it's a journey. I think hadi akikufa, maybe that's when.
I have a question. How do you think we can correct what I would call the curse of fatherhood, in terms of, you find that most abusive men have probably seen their fathers being abusive, or drunkards have seen their fathers who are drunkards, or men who are immoral have had a father or a male figure in their lives who was immoral, and that's what they got from that. So how do you correct that so that the man who's growing up now becomes a better version?
For me, I think there's only one way, and that is Christ. That is the deal breaker for the kind of man you'd want to be.
Yeah.
Because there's a quote that actually said, if you follow a man who doesn't follow Christ, then that head of the home, he's headless. Because the Bible says Christ is the head of the church.
Oh, yeah.
And you see, we are told as men, you need to follow Christ even as the lady follows you.
Yeah.
So if the lady is following a man that doesn't have Christ in him, he's a headless man.
Yeah.
So there's no way that he will function as he should in his full capacity without the knowledge of Christ. And Christ actually enables us to see all this brokenness in us. The pain that we've been carrying and we do not know we are carrying. The things we pass on to the ladies we are with, our children. Christ will shift that focus to being now the kind of man he intended for us to be. So for me, I think that's the only way to just change even society. Allow Christ.
Nice one.
Wow. The other thing I think, that's a starter, and of course there are some things we see in our families. I mean, I think no man should just be caught up by things. We said men take initiative, right? So if you start studying the patterns in your family and you realize, I'm polygamous or I have polygamous tendencies, I don't keep one woman after another, it's because that trend has been from my great-grandfathers.
Yeah.
They were polygamous, man. I mean, and so I struggle with polygamous tendencies, right? So you realize, but hii ni pattern ya kwetu.
Like it's the norm.
It's the norm. In fact, you hear your father commenting and saying, of course, mwanamume ukipata kapesa, why should you have one woman? So that, unajua hii ni trend ya kwenu. Or he's an alcoholic. Unajua. na majina zingine of course our grandfathers walikuwa wanapewa kama Wanjohi, you know, those kind of names and other names that unasikia hapo watu hawakuwa creative, watu walifuta tu majina ya ukunywaji. You know, those kind of things. Yeah,
to explain to us Wanjohi na
he drinks a lot. Yeah, so this kind of things. So when you realize that there are patterns in your family, men, and of course you have the relationship with Jesus Christ, then you start now taking initiative. How do I make sure that this doesn't really doesn't pass on to the next generation? And I think for me that's what has happened. I realized that there are patterns in our family. I'm like, man, I can't allow this to carry on to the next family. Is it an easy journey? It's not. If you have polygamous tendencies, man, it doesn't mean that those things are going to really stop once like zimekatika. But by the grace of God, abide by and making a conscious decision daily, manze, you'll pass on the next generation in a better format than it is. And of course, it is the responsibility of each and every man to make sure that your son will start on a better platform than you started. Yes.
The Bible says that a righteous man leaves an inheritance for his children's children.
Yes.
And that's not only wealth, but even attributes of character.
Good name.
Yeah.
Relationship with God. That's profound.
Okay. Even the sharing as men.
Yeah.
You know, coming together as men and holding each other. I think that is one thing where women do better. Oh,
very.
The support they give one another, no matter where the emotions are, they still support each other, you know. And I think that is one thing when we adopt as men, then we are able to step in and, you know, speak to our fellow brother and say, hey, Appa, you are going the other side. Stay on course.
Yes.
Sure. Yes. Okay, so how do men define love? Especially romantic love.
I know you guys are expecting me to say things. But I'll just point us to, you know, the Bible. You know, the Bible describes the best. The Bible has the best words to describe the word love and what love entails and what it is. You know, love is kind, love is patient, love is as in. So if you're out, if you're romantic.